Welcome to Som Prana. I'm Sara, Herr. I'm an EFT tapping and somatic practitioner.
And I'm Dr. Aarti Soorya. I'm an integrative medicine physician. So today we wanted to kind of start with where do you even begin with nervous system work? Like I know it can sound kind of vague and it sounds so nebulous. People don't even know where to start. So Sara, why don't you kind of talk us through how would you start with a client?
Yeah, first awareness. We always first start with awareness. Bringing awareness to your nervous system, and how we do that is going into your senses. So when you are in a fight or flight pattern, or problems are showing up like symptoms, or even just having check-ins throughout the day, where you hone in on how your body feels. So it might be like at lunch, I'm going to just scan my body and see what I feel physically in my body and name those sensations. So it's like, okay, my back hurts, my stomach hurts. So it really starts with just bringing awareness to what you're feeling. And then you might start noticing these like shutdown or fight or flight patterns where it's like, actually, yeah, anxious. Or I do feel, if you're shut down, I do feel kind of numb, or I feel cloudy, or I just don't feel like I'm totally here. I feel really tired. I feel exhausted. And noticing those things is the first place we always start, is just bringing awareness and noticing what is happening. Bringing your awareness and even noticing and allowing it to be there can even
It's
be calm.
huge. It's
Yeah,
huge. Yeah.
it can be really calming to the nervous system. And then you go into your senses. So what you do is then okay, I'm feeling something in my body. What do I see around me? What do I smell? What do I taste? Is there any taste in my mouth, or can I take a sip of something? What do I hear? This helps tell your nervous system you're now safe. And I always start with this, and I know you do too, that we start with the senses are just beautiful. If you want to talk a little bit why using the senses are really helpful.
Yeah, I mean, we're mammals, so our senses were there to give us a sense of safety. And so, visually, what do I hear? Do I see? Because that was you, scanning your environment for safety or threat. And it was also a way to either invite communication or connection with people, or oh no, I need to keep my distance, or I need to do this for my safety. And so subconsciously, this is your senses are always giving your brain, whether you're safe or not, and that impacts whether you are repairing or you're not. So this is how it kind of ties into your health. And so if we look at kind of ancient cultures, they always incorporated all of the senses into everything that they did. So it was a way to really connect, to the environment and to yourself. And so like rituals and things like that, there's sound, there's smell, like the music, the movement, the what you looked at, and um, you know, uh, what you heard, what you tasted, everything was incorporated into everything, in daily life. And I think because of our culture being very fight or flight, we kind of lose our connection with the senses, which makes our internal environment feel a little bit lost
Mhm.
and therefore not repairing quite as well.
Yeah, and the senses also bring us into the present moment so that our body can see we are safe. So learning to start grounding with the senses. Now, at first, it doesn't always happen where you check in with your senses and you feel calm. That fight or flight can still be going, and that's okay. But consistently doing this rebuilds some of that mind-body connection, and it makes it easier to start working through these things and building safety in the body. So it does take time, but really going into your senses multiple times a day can be really helpful, and that includes mentally scanning. When we say mentally scanning, it's feeling sensations, not like, oh, I'm not talking like naming.
Right. No cognitive. We don't want cognitive here.
100% like, oh, my leg is tingling, or I feel really light, or I feel heavy, or I feel warm, I feel cold. All of these sensations we want to notice. And that starts us building that brain body and noticing what happens when we go into fight or flight, when we go into shutdown. and also can bring safety. Because when we go into our senses and maybe you were in your head, it brings you back into the present moment and can calm your nervous system. 'Cause it's like, oh, there isn't actually a threat. I'm feeling
Mhm.
warm and I'm looking out in my environment and it's calm and I see birds and I smell food cooking and I hear birds and I hear, whatever you hear, and it can help start calming your nervous system, but it also starts building your awareness to like, yeah, for some reason I go into fight or flight at lunch. And then it's from there we can start figuring out ways to work through that.
Mhm. Beautifully explained. So I think that's a great first place to start with anybody, if they're trying to learn their nervous system or try to train their brain body connection. Awareness is presence is the key. So,
Yeah. So starting with presence and starting in your senses. We will be putting out a bigger program that discusses ways to move towards more regulation, getting more into the nitty gritty once you've built some of this awareness. And we hope to see you there.